Welcome to the Big Biz Show, featuring insight, analysis, and a lot of stuff that's none of your business.
Hold on. This is the Big Biz Show. I think it is their business.
Making the markets work for you. Here's the man with the plan, Sully.
Well, here we are, live from the Jump Studios. Well, I haven't done that in a long time. The Big Biz Show is on here. So the explanation there is the original studios are called Jump Television Studios.
Kicking it old school.
You know why they're called Jump Television Studios?
No.
I used to own, as a side business with another partner, I invested in a boxing business, and it was called Jump Elite Fitness.
Ew.
Went out of business. He wanted to go on his own, so I mentored him on his own. I have this empty building. I called it Jump Television Studios, and that was the original studio. There you go. Look who's here. Howie Font is here, the brains of the business.
Hello, hello.
You know,
everybody.
Like the blue
Howie.
So what's going on? What's going on in the world of business? We have not talked about the world of business for a while now, and in terms of markets seem to be rallying back.
Can I give you a fun story?
Yes.
I would love a fun story.
Now, we talk a lot about shorts, borrowing stock, betting against it effectively.
So basically, yeah. So there was also, like I like to say, equities are the only asset you can sell before you own.
Yep.
Can't sell your house before you own it. Can't sell your stock. Basically, you I'm going to sell it here and buy it back here. Keep the difference. That's a very rudimentary way to think about it.
You talk about it all the time. It's in the news in a big way because
Because it's abused.
well, we have two poster childs right now. It was big in 2020 during the pandemic. GameStop and AMC.
Yeah.
They're
Oh, meme
back in the
stocks.
news. The meme stocks were being shorted again, and they are now rallying huge. Guess how much short sellers are losing between AMC
Now,
and
let me tell-
GameStop in the last 2 days?
How
I can't
much?
wait to
Give me
hear
the
this.
over/under.
I can't wait to hear this.
50 billion.
4 billion. Shorts
I knew
have
the number.
shorts,
I knew the answer.
Shorts have lost 4 billion
Now, let me tell you.
in
Let me
2
tell,
days.
let me tell you what that
Yep.
means. Let me tell you what that means.
Please.
This
They
is,
gotta cover.
Wait. This is
Yeah.
why they didn't. They had to cover.
Yeah.
So this is why shorting is so risky. If you buy a stock, one share of stock for $100, what's the most money you could lose?
$100.
$100. If you borrow a share at $100, okay, and hope it's going to go down to 80, and then keep the 20, okay, what is the most you can lose? Infinity.
Everything.
Yep.
Because what if it goes from 100 to 10 million?
Yep.
You got to buy the share back, right? So here's how it works. I'm going to borrow the share from the broker and sell it the same day.
Okay.
Now I owe the share back to the broker in a couple days, so I got my money. So I borrowed the share. I sold it for $100. I'm hoping. How about this? Let's take this. I'm going to take that Volkswagen parked on the corner there, that red Volkswagen, plain vanilla Volkswagen, and I'm going to sell it. It doesn't belong to me, but I'm selling it. Hey, this is for sale here. $10,000. I know the guy's on vacation for a couple days. I go out and look for a red Volkswagen. I buy it for $5,000. Put it right in its place. I keep the 5, right?
Okay.
Now, what happens though if I go out to look for the red Volkswagen and there's never been another red Volkswagen in the history of Volkswagens, and I can't do it? Now suddenly the value of the Volkswagen goes up through the roof. Now I got to pay the difference to get the thing back with it before I get arrested.
Yeah.
Same thing with the stocks goes that I'm going to borrow the share, I'm going to sell the shares, hope to buy back at a lower price. But what if it goes up? You got to buy it back at a higher price. I sold the share at 100. I owe the broker the share back, but now it's worth 300. Oh my God! I just lost $200. How much money?
$4 billion.
$4 billion
in
was
48
lost.
hours. Well, not 48 hours. 2 days. 2 trading sessions.
Yeah, I mean 16 hours.
Yeah.
16
So
hours.
go back real quick on the short. Do you have 2 days? You have 3 days?
So,
What is it, 4 days?
T plus 2. So what that means is, hang on a second, T plus 2 is a typical transaction for when you buy a stock, when you can get. So if you sell a stock, and you can get your money back in 2 days. Used to be T plus 3. Shorts is a little different story.
Short's a little different story because, as you know very well, broker-dealers themselves have a much longer period.
20 trading days.
But PSA to the world, May 28th, NASDAQ and New York Stock Exchange going to T plus 1 for the first time.
Yeah.
Most equities.
So what happens is
Really?
you sell a share of stock, you get your money the next day.
Wow.
That's because it's
revolutionary,
digital. But the moral of the story here is, look, they allow shorting because it allows an orderly trading market. You can hedge against your bets and so on and so forth. And it's actually a good thing for institutional investors. But it's not good for individual investors. Don't do it unless you know what the hell you're doing.
That's exactly right.
Yeah.
Like Howie.
You'll lose a lot of money like
Yeah,
Howie.
fine.
Like, I put it on Devin's paycheck.
Did you?
Hey, can I ask you?
Happy birthday.
I only bet with Mike's
When we
money.
come back, we're going to talk about the bloomin' onions running down the streets of Melbourne.
Nothing like authentic Australian food, man.
But I'll say, no, there's one other thing. Lobster. And it's a sad day. We'll tell you about that. Come back in a bit.
Worst ever.
Loft 100 Studios, the Big Biz Show, and our affiliates and our hosts are not registered investment advisors or broker-dealers.
Our show hosts make no commitment that the purchase of securities of companies profiled or otherwise mentioned in our programming
are suitable or advisable for any person, or that an investment in such securities will be profitable in general.
Given the nature of the company's profile and the lack of an active trading market for the securities, investing is highly speculative and carries a certain high degree of risk.
We profile selected publicly traded and privately held companies on our program.
Most of these companies that we profile have provided compensation to Loft 100 Studios and its hosts for the profile coverage.
From time to time, we sell shares of the companies profiled in the open market that we receive as compensation for coverage of client companies.
But never sell stocks. If we are speaking about interviewing or covering a public company who has paid compensation.
Specific questions on compensation can be obtained by contacting producer at sullyentgroup.com.
Listeners should verify all claims and do their own due diligence before investing in any securities mentioned on this program.
Investing in securities is speculative and carries a high degree of risk.
We encourage our investors to invest carefully and read the investor information available at the websites on the
Securities and Exchange Commission at sec.gov and or the Financial Industry Regulatory Authority, FINRA, at www.finra.org.
I like it.
Welcome to the Big Biz Show, featuring insight, analysis, and a lot of stuff that's none of your business.
Hold on. This is the Big Biz Show. I think it is their business.
Making the markets work for you. Here's the man with the plan, Sully.
Hello there, welcome to the Big Biz Show. Sully here, Costa there, Todoroff there, Mary Bird Godwin there, and look who's on stage. It is the DTC.
Hey.
Is Quattro, Una Dos Tres Quattro spelled with a C or a Q?
I think it's
C-U-A-T-R-O, Quattro.
You're right.
So
You're right.
is it Q or C?
C.
Do you know why I like the DTC? Hey, where's Howie?
DTC?
Just, you can yell in the background. Everybody turn their mics up. Howie, what is, oh, he has a mic up. You've heard of the DTC? The real
Trust
DTC?
Corporation, yep.
The Depository Trust Corporation? Which is what?
It's one of many transfer agents and holders of stock.
The DTC is a clearing firm for stocks.
Yeah.
See how we did that thing?
Look at that.
DTC.
Killing two birds with one bush.
Oh, your favorite.
The year was 1993. When we first saw the bottomless salad bowl, the endless breadsticks, and what I like to call, or what Mike likes to call, couldn't call anyway, we were too frickin' full. Lobster Fest is over.
Who's really sad about this, though?
Mike, what's up?
Here.
What's up? What happened?
There's
Tell us the story.
There's Pearl Harbor. And there's Red Lobster going out of business.
It's right
Wow.
there. Yeah, wow.
It's
So Red Lobby's out of business, huh?
But not all
Like,
of them, right?
I was going to say
Just
all of
some.
them, or just.
I think
but it's
a large portion, perhaps.
And what happened? Why?
well, Greg and I were discussing this earlier. Is it the former or the current?
I think the former CEO or potentially the current CEO
Mr.
did
Endless
the
Shrimp.
Endless Shrimp. Right.
Endless.
And it
This
turned
was
out.
Endless Shrimp?
Yeah. And
You know, one time I worked at Sizzler.
They had an.
One time, one time I worked at Sizzler. Remember Sizzler?
Oh, yeah.
And they had the Santa Fe steak, and they had the Hawaiian steak. Okay? And, and the Santa Fe steak was a steak, and the Hawaiian steak was a burger. Well, I accidentally put the pineapple on the one, and I put the. So, and this is literally my last day. I was a college guy. I was getting out, and somebody said, "Hey, this is wrong." I went like this.
Oh wow!
I just took the pineapple and one on the chili.
How many slices of Texas toast?
I was thinking about how many people would say, "Hey, give me more of them shrimps."
Yeah.
Keep them coming.
Oh,
keep,
for sure.
Keep them.
And now they're out of business.
Yes.
Was that the
They were overwhelmed.
Was Red Lobster endless shrimp also?
Yeah.
Yeah, bottomless,
Yeah.
endless.
What's the theme here? Give out endless shrimp. What happens, Mary?
You go out of business.
That's exactly right.
Yeah.
Bye.
So many people showed up and just destroyed the Red Lobster. And
Is this really what happened?
Yes.
Wait a minute.
They couldn't.
The real story is that they gave away too much food and it killed them?
Yeah.
Right. They just,
They lost. Their losses were in the millions from this all-you-can-eat shrimp.
This reminds
because
me-
They weren't expecting people to eat so much shrimp.
This reminds me of that skit.
I kid you not.
This reminds me of that skit. This reminds me of that skit where it's like, "Hi, my name is Mike Costa from Michael Costa Corporation, and we make change. You have $1, we have 4 quarters. We perhaps have 10 dimes. You know how I can give you 20 nickels.
Yep.
You know how we make money? Volume.
Yep. Right. I'm
You
losing $1
remember
on
that?
every deal, but I'm going to make it up in volume. Right?
That was a Saturday. That was an SNL skit. That was an SNL skit in the '90s, and it was like, we just make change. You have a $20 bill? I give you 21s. People ask us how we make money. Volume.
They would get these land wells that would come in and just sit for hours.
Well,
just consume.
Eat the shrimp.
Yeah.
And just
So no, listen.
He
wait
knows.
a second.
He knows from personal
I remember
experience,
as a
actually.
kid. I remember as a kid there was a place here in San Diego where we broadcast from, and I know that doesn't mean anything. It's called Sir George's.
Oh, smorgasbord.
Sir George's Smorgasbord. I believe, if I'm not mistaken, if you walk in a restaurant that has all, you serve yourself. It was called in some land a smorgasbord.
It's German.
Oh,
I was gonna say
well,
it's
thank you.
German, right?
Wait.
You just claimed that, like, hey, we came up with that.
Wait.
Your last name's Costa. You're
Could be
freaking.
Austrian.
Wait.
You're Costrian. So I remember as a kid.
Smorgasbord.
I remember as a kid going to the smorgasbord.
Oh,
It was the greatest thing ever.
Yeah.
And as an adult, though, you sort of feel like, let's say you're getting your 30s here, you're not wearing the 34, 32s, now you're wearing the 36, 32s. You got the kids, and you're walking in there, and you're like, as you're elbow deep into the macaroni and cheese, right? Or the Salisbury steak.
It's never good.
Oh, wait a second.
Oh, excuse me. Oh, hold the phone there, Missy.
When chocolate pudding is an item at Sir George's, it's good.
Oh, chocolate pudding, maybe.
Did you ever go to a hometown buffet?
Absolutely.
Did you really?
Soup plantation was our jam.
I remember the one time I went to hometown buffet as a kid, and that was when I had little kids.
Yeah.
And we went in there because listen, you drag kids, and if you drag in a place like that, like Soup Plantation or all those places, it's fine because everybody else is there, and there's like
Totally.
I remember trying to eat healthy one time, and I thought I'd go get the fish. That wasn't not the non-breaded fish, the one that's floating in about
I have
ate
shivers.
the water that's a little butter stick yellow with the water.
It was carp.
Yeah. No. You mean the national fish of Germany?
No. What does a carp eat?
Was that
everything any other fish doesn't eat.
No, it was what's the other one?
Tilapia?
Tilapia.
Oh, yeah.
Right? But I remember going through there thinking to myself, if you are 1 pound overweight, you can't walk in that place. You can walk in there looking like Greg's like, hey, come on, give me a big pile of the ribs and a big pile of chocolate pudding and some tapioca for dipping.
You can eat the kale that they use for like decoration and garnish. That's what you
wait a
eat
second.
today.
Are we moving to that story? Do you remember the scene in it's maybe Tom Hanks owns a bookstore, falls in love with Meg Ryan, the little
Oh, You've Got Mail?
No, that was You've Got Mail. That was a different movie.
Oh,
it was in
Seattle?
Seattle. Yeah. No, the one where he owns Fox Books and she owns a little bookshop on the corner.
I thought that was You Got Mail.
No, dude, that was a different movie.
Deliverance.
My point is, there was a scene when they didn't get along. There was a scene there at a dinner party, and he just took his spoon and took all the caviar around the thing. Now, the first TV show, the reason I'm going through this is because of the all-you-can-eat thing.
Yeah.
The first TV show that we learned about the double dip, you double dipped, was
Seinfeld.
Yeah.
What's the worst thing you've ever done at one of those hometown buffets? Because you've all been there. I mean, you've eaten from the thing?
Oh, yeah. Oh, yeah.
Only because those guys were standing right behind you in line.
Hey, you got to make sure the gravy is good. Hello.
Can I tell you one of my favorite things in the world, and I don't eat.
Not to mention walking makes you hungry.
Listen, I can't. I'm burning calories here, man.
Hold on. I'm lightheaded.
I have to tell you. I don't. Did you just snort?
I'm sorry.
That was real.
Wow.
I'm sorry.
Yeah, do you know what he was snorting? The rest of the shrimp. Put his face down. I understand what you're saying though, because I don't. There's not enough ribs in my lifetime. I don't eat ribs anymore, but barbecue ribs are my thing. It's like my favorite thing. I don't think I could walk by a rib without going.
Beef or pork?
Doesn't matter.
Okay, doesn't matter.
And maybe it's just a delivery device for the
perfect
barbecue sauce.
answer. That is the perfect answer.
As long as it's
doesn't
ribs.
matter.
All right.
As long as there's a rib bone involved.
Well, I'm sorry to hear that you lost your Red Lobster. When's the last time you went to Red Lobster?
Oh, it has to be like 20 years ago, but still anyhow.
But the memory lingers.
But the memory
doesn't
of
it?
it, no, we went recently, like in the last 10 years, for all-you-can-eat shrimp, bottomless shrimp, yeah.
Of course. You know who's happy about it? The shrimp.
The ocean called the running out of shrimp. Oh my God.
I gotta tell you. Big quiz, who's gonna take its place?
Oh, that's a great question.
Big Biz Show. More to come. Stand by.
Food Plantation went out of business.
Live from Loft 100 Studios in sunny San Diego, California. Big Biz Show's on the air. Good to have you along. 125 million TV homes strong. Nationwide, coast to coast, thanks to BizTV and Bloomberg Financiero, not to mention American Forces Network, or they call AFARTS, Armed Forces Radio Television Services. Today, 10:02, ladies and gentlemen. There you go. Hey, is Costa still missing?
He's
still
missing
at
in
large?
action.
What's going on with him?
I don't know. I know we got, well, at least we have Howie coming up in a second. Ram Makunda, by the way, founder and CEO of a company called IGC Pharmaceuticals. We got to this guy because a shareholder, I think, contacted Greg and said we should talk to these guys. These guys are spearheading a mission to take on Alzheimer's disease. And there is a malady called agitation in Alzheimer's disease. That IGC has a pretty novel approach to. Rob's been on the air with us before. Pretty interesting story, and I give you Ram Makunda, the CEO. Ram, how are you, sir?
I'm doing great, Sully. Thank you for inviting me to your show again.
Well, listen, every time we have you on the air, we get a ton of emails, and I know that you have a THC based treatment for agitation and Alzheimer's. Why don't you explain the agitation and Alzheimer's first, and then let's talk about the treatment.
Well, Alzheimer's, as you know, is a neurodegenerative disease. It starts about 20 years before symptoms set in. So in your late 40s, you can actually start getting amyloid buildup in the brain. And eventually, about 20 years later, in your 60s or 60, in late 60s or 70s, you start to get memory loss. And with that, you end up getting a lot of neuropsychiatric symptoms. Agitation is one of the worst ones because it makes it very difficult for the caregiver to take care of the patient. And agitation can be anything from physical aggression, it can be verbal aggression, it can be pacing, it can be disrobing, it can be inappropriate behavior, even motor movements, opening and closing a drawer, for example. So all of these are considered symptoms of agitation. And it makes it, as I said, it makes it very difficult for caretakers to actually take care of the patient. And currently, the only medication that's out there takes about 6 to 10 weeks to actually make a difference or to slow down or make the patient more manageable. So that's what agitation is, Sully.
So let's talk about the treatment then, because what's interesting here is you're the only THC-based treatment under investigation with FDA trials. I think that's important to talk about.
So we are the only THC-based under an FDA-approved trial. We're in a phase 2 trial, as I've said before. And the THC is interesting because THC tends to be biphasic. In other words, at high doses, THC behaves in a certain way. We all know people get high and from smoking weed and all that. But at very, very low doses, it behaves in the opposite. It actually increases neurotransmission. It helps with rebalancing neurotransmitters. It reduces neuroinflammation. All of these are related to agitation. So what we did was to take this medication along with another medication. So we have 2 active pharmaceuticals. THC is one of them. And we took that into a trial, and we discovered that it's fairly rapidly acting. So our interim results actually show us that within 2 weeks we can reduce symptomatic or symptomological agitation. Now remember, this is not agitation as in something happens, someone gets agitated. This is chronic agitation. It's caused by a change in the brain chemistry. So it reduces neuroinflammation. It also rebalances neurotransmitters. So that is why we're able to reduce agitation. And it's a very exciting drug because what we also found in preclinical trials is that it actually can be disease modifying. In other words, it reduces beta amyloid load in the brain. So one of the things we're going to do is we're going through this agitation study. We're also going to file eventually what we'll do is file another protocol to actually see if this reduces if it reduces some of the hallmarks of Alzheimer's, like tangles, and plaques.
So Ram, you mentioned the current treatment takes about 6 to 7 weeks, I think you said, and then you said this one takes about 2 weeks. So is it something that upon diagnosis of Alzheimer's, then a patient would start taking it right away? Or is it when they first show the agitation? Or now you're saying that maybe it can reduce side effects or the symptoms, all the symptoms of Alzheimer's?
It's a great question. So right now we're testing it for agitation. So you wouldn't take it until symptoms of agitation, until you actually get symptoms of agitation. But eventually we're going to test it to see if it actually reduces amyloid load and tangles, which are hallmarks of the disease itself. So eventually we're going to test this to see if it's disease modifying. Now, as I'm sure you know, disease modifying, showing that something is disease modifying takes a much longer time. It's going to take us several years to do the study, to look at PET scans, for example, to look at if there are any other adverse events from reducing beta amyloid load, all of that. But that's exciting because this could be a drug that could be taken as soon as you see symptoms or signs of Alzheimer's.
Hey, Ram, what's the arc of the story with the FDA? What's the timing on that?
So right now we're in a phase 2 study. We are hoping, we've shown them the interim results, and we're going to have a discussion with them to see if we can pivot to a phase 3 trial. And that's a discussion that we're going to have with them in the next several months. And if we can pivot to a phase 3, it's going to speed things up.
Is there an AI component to this that we talked about before?
There's a massive AI component to this. We've already developed models. We've collected lots of databases from around the world. We are creating a model for Alzheimer's. And the hope is that when we create this model, we'll be able to look for early markers of Alzheimer's.
And the AI helps us with that.
And the AI helps us with that. Currently, 30% of diagnoses are false negatives. So someone walks in, they have Alzheimer's. Doctor says, you don't have Alzheimer's.
Wow.
And the patient goes.
Ram Makunda, CEO, founder of IGC Pharma. You can go check them out at igcpharma.com, or they're publicly traded with stock symbol IGC. I'm already agitated, and most of the things he described already happen to me on a daily basis. All right, we got Howie Font coming up. Our punkpreneur, a.k.a. Crash, is going to talk about consumers traveling at a record high, even with high inflation. We'll talk about that in just 1 second. Big Biz Show, stand by.
It is the Big Biz Show, live from the Loft 100 studios. Wherever you're watching, wherever you're listening, we always appreciate you being along for the ride. Costa, Mary Godwin, Greg Todorov, and our man Sully, driving the ship.
He's like, thanks for coming along.
No.
Thanks, Greg. We are brought to you by Prudential. Let Prudential be your rock for retirement. Also brought to you by Bayer Advanced, better science, better results. It's fertilizer. It ain't aspirin.
Learn the hard way.
Starbucks coffee. Bayer Advanced, better science, better results. Starbucks coffee. And they're, are you a Starbucks still?
Oh, yeah.
I'm back into Starbucks now.
Big time. And my kids are, all the teens are doing it.
Oh my God.
Bloomin' Brands and their fine family of restaurants, including Outback Steakhouse.
Delicious.
Delicious.
Authentic.
What do you know about Outback Steakhouse? That it's delicious and I love it. Remember the other day we were talking about Red Lobster?
Oh my God.
Tuesday? Big Biz Show. Big Biz Show. All right. Paul Hickey. Paul Hickey, we could have talked to for an hour a couple weeks ago, and we unfortunately had just 8 minutes. And I thought, let's bring him back and talk about just something me and Mike talk about often. Mike and I go for walks. He's painfully slow. And that's why I bring a wheelbarrow.
Yeah.
Sometimes when he gets tired, and he's so we're walking down. He's eating fire Funyuns because I'm immensely strong. But when we talk, when Mike and I go on our walks, when I'm pushing him up the Grapevine,
yes,
here in California, on the 5 Freeway North, we talk about metabolic bariatric surgery, a vastly underused treatment. I'm not kidding when I say that because Paul Hickey is the president and CEO of a company called ReShape Lifesciences. And they are in the business of bariatric surgery. They've carved themselves a niche in the market for what's called minimally invasive bariatric surgery. So basically what they're doing, it's what is, I think, known as the lap band system, which means and he's going to slap me around a little bit when I say this wrong, but imagine your stomach being like a football, and let's say it's partway inflated, and you take the top of the football and just squeeze it so you got a little ball here and the big ball here. This little pouch up here, as he called it, if you get full when your stomach's filled up, right?
Right.
Well, if your stomach's only this high big, you're filled up fast.
Quicker.
I think that's right. I give you Paul Hickey, the president and CEO. By the way, their company stock symbol is RSLS. How are you? Paul, how did I do there? Was that?
Yeah, I love the analogy. I'm a sports guy, so football analogy I'll start using myself. But
is that the national champion?
That is indeed.
Yeah. Excuse me. I see.
Go blue.
See a moment.
Go blue.
Go blue.
Victor's
go blue.
Football blue. Concrete heroes.
Let's go. Did we? Yeah. Okay. Do we end up? Is he going to be Charger coach? Will he be the Chargers coach?
He is.
Now?
Jimmy Harbaugh?
It's done?
Yeah, it's done.
He is. His first draft just happened a couple weeks ago.
See, I've been busy watching the Phillies.
That's okay.
All right, Hickey, tell us what's going on. How close did I come there with the pouch analogy? Because when you explained this last time, I think, well, the reason there's a little pouch there is because when you fill up your stomach, you're still eating till you get to here, then you stop eating. I'm not hungry anymore. So what you're doing is that right?
Exactly. And
I'm sorry. Did you say exactly?
I said exactly. No,
exactly
I think it's a good analogy to use. I explain it the same way to people at times. It's adjustable, so you can take that same football, and if you can't eat enough or you're eating too much, you can tighten it or loosen it, depending on your tolerance for that therapy.
Paul, do people make the mistake of, and this is a mistake I would certainly make, hey, I got the surgery or I got the implantation.
Let's go have Funyuns.
Let's go to Golden Corral 24/7. I mean, how much is?
But the problem is you can eat a teaspoonful, right?
True,
before you get full.
Right,
but you're eating stuff you want to eat. Is that what you're saying?
Well, that's it. But how much is that mental gymnastics also part of the equation where you've got to do a lot of lifestyle altering?
Yeah, it's. I think as you read up on the disease of obesity and people who are struggling fighting that disease, you realize it's not just, behavior and modification of one part of your life, right? Your foods that you eat certainly aren't helpful in sort of driving and feeding that disease and causing you to have an issue with your weight. Certainly, mental health is tailwind for obesity, and there's other things, other factors. But these surgeries have to be punitive, and it's one element of it. When you go out to eat after Outback, after whether it's a lap band or a gastric sleeve bypass, you're just not you're not going to feel as hungry to go into Outback, and secondarily, you're not going to be able to eat very much at all. The surgeries, by and large, don't tolerate large amounts of food consumption. So yeah, it's going to be a light bill at the end of your stay at Outback.
And Paul, I had a question about the GLP-1s, that Ozempic and all the other drugs that are on the market now. How is that? Do they work in tandem with the lap band, or those seem to be in question as how safe they are to take, and are they being overused? Do you need to do them in tandem, or you would just get the lap band procedure?
Yeah, that's a great question. I mean, it's sort of a historic time for obesity and the obesity market. And the GLP-1s, were introduced late 22, but really hit the market in 23 with supply chain issues and other things hitting last year for the companies that provide those. But the onset of those is allowing people that are going to avoid surgery to start talking to their healthcare professional to try drugs. And these drugs, GLP-1s, are very helpful, very beneficial. And there are questions out there with them, but there's no question in my mind they're here to stay. What we're seeing is we're getting people who are on the sidelines, not really addressing their weight and the disease of obesity, and they're starting to talk to their healthcare professionals about potentially getting on GLP-1s. Those that do are going to likely plateau between 12 and 18 months. You can only lose so much weight with the GLP-1s, and that's where we're seeing combination therapy, where someone may have gotten a taste of weight loss with the GLP-1s and they've plateaued. They're 300 pounds, they've lost 20%. Now they're down to 240 and want to lose another 40 pounds or more. They might look at a bariatric surgery, and that's where we think the lap band is well positioned for that. But you're right. There's combination therapy. You can try the GLP-1s, Wegovy, Zepbound, Ozempic by itself, and see how you tolerate that. And for some, that might be the best and the only therapy needed. But I think for many others, we're going to see more aggressive procedures, including the bariatric surgeries that are performed necessary for those individuals.
Paul Hickey, the pride of Ann Arbor, Michigan, President CEO, ReShape Lifesciences, stock symbol RSLS, with us here on the Big Biz Show.
Hey, I got a question because you sent me an article, Paul, regarding, or I think it was you, regarding bariatric surgery being a vastly underused treatment. Here's my question, and I want you to move my needle on this, because I know for me, if I start moving my and eating right, and you can see me on TV going from here to here to here to here to here over the years of being on television. Yet they say obesity is a disease. Now, if it is a disease, which I sort of believe it is, because I see some people that don't eat anything and they're still and they can't seem to lose weight. I think that is a metabolic or physiological thing. But very quickly, if it's just a matter of, I think your technology has proved that the opposite. Because if these big giant people, which I was one of, I was a taco shy of 400 pounds at one point, one more burrito.
Yep.
Back this right. 30 years ago. The fact of the matter is I couldn't do anything until, if I were walking into your office today, I bet you'd say your success rate is going to be about 95%. Now, that doesn't mean it's a disease. You just cured something in me. I'm eating less. You're not, right? So move my needle on how that works, please.
Yeah, that's a great question. And I think that's something that has to gain more understanding to the general population. Why is it a disease? It's been thought of so long as just bad habits and lack of activity, lifestyle, right? Food, diet, and lifestyle. The fact is that there's so much that goes on with their hormones and your desire to eat, and the brain, I think, becomes imbalanced with the stomach, and ultimately drives more hunger, less satiety, so you don't feel as full with the same amount of food as you eat.
Yeah.
A lot of studies have been out there just sort of showing that food is a part of this, where the large cohort of individuals were studied over in Europe, and one cohort of the study had just normal diet and caloric intake. The other one, they put on an artificial sweetener, but the same calorie intake. What they found was that the cohort that had the artificial sweetener actually just ate more during the day because of that sort of that feeling, that addiction. It's not truly an addiction, but that the hormone release when people see a food they like or smell a food they like or taste a food they like.
His name is Paul Hickey. Paul, I can tell you what, we want to have you back again and again because every time we talk to you, this could be an hour. I think we should, honestly, we should do a special on this. Okay, and we should get a couple guys with our voices, say, oh, look what we did. We could act like we were on it. Because the question I'm dying to ask him is this. Apparently obesity is not a disease because I can cure you by you eating less and I can make you eat less.
But how
so is it a disease anymore?
And how many people?
Paul Hickey for president, by the way. You're coming to San Diego, pal. It's not a big ass.
How many are technically obese that don't even know, that have no clue? They're like, I'm healthy.
Yeah, right. RSLS is the stock symbol. You can go to ReshapeLifesci.com. You're going to see more of him. I promise you. I'm going to hunt him down and make him come to see us. Could we? All right, Big Biz Show continues. Great to have you along today. Quick show. That could be Brian Jordan on the guitar.
Whoa.
From Lauryn Hill, Dave Matthews, and James Brown, and from Little Chris of the Nightcrawlers at the Mira Mesa Bowl this Saturday night. There you go. Good to see you guys. So we were talking about CrowdStrike on the last break, and of course, CrowdStrike, cybersecurity company, that had a hitch in the giddy-up with some control in Microsoft Windows that affected everything from hospitals to airlines to very close to affecting the financial systems here. It begs to ask the question, is the global tech outage a glimpse into our future? Mm-hmm. I mean, you remember, so we are broadcast nationwide, coast to coast, internationally, but here in San Diego, where our studios are, about 13 years ago, we had a power outage in San Diego that covered the entire county of San Diego. And it was from a glitch somewhere in Arizona.
I was going to say it was in Arizona. It was
right, and it wasn't a cyber thing, but it made you think, God, we are one flip of a switch away.
Yeah, the grid.
Which scares us. So our good friend Jonathan Javid from IGC Pharmaceuticals has quite a bit of experience in cybersecurity. He's well known to our viewers as a biotechnology expert. But he's also has spent much of his life in the information technology and cybersecurity world. He introduced us to a gentleman by the name of Gregory Nazarovsky. Gregory Nazarovsky is a co-founder of Fortress IO. It's an Israeli cybersecurity startup that in a few short years has amassed more than 300 corporate clients and basically has created a system to sort of prevent what we just saw happen with CrowdStrike. And he joins us today. Gregory, thanks for taking the time to come out here because this is a big deal as far as the story goes. I guess my first question is, how did you get into all this? You went to the Israeli army, like all 18-year-old Israelis. They send you to tech school and then to military. How did you get into the cybersecurity community?
So first of all, thank you for having me. So I actually started from childhood, disassembling and assembling computers at home. So I can say that my first computer had just one color, so it's a different time. And yes, as every kid here, when I was 19, I went to the Navy, actually finished in the Air Force. But back then we were learning information security from books. Myself, I have developed incident response procedures and forensics methodologies for the Army. And in Israel, Israel became a center, it's like a hub center for cybersecurity worldwide. Yes, sorry.
Here's my question is about, so in the military, weren't you a part of, or didn't you witness the first firewall that was invented for the Israeli army? I mean, that's 25 years of experience there. So talk about that a little bit.
So Israel is unique as a country that has a constant state of confrontation as an interest. So I think that we develop a coping mechanism which enables a rapid growth and develop of technologies, thinking decades ahead. in mind that we need to use them in the future. And one of the examples that you give, it's a really good example that I usually give as well. So the modern firewall, the first modern firewall, was developed in the Israeli army by people who recognize the risk, and it was back in 92 actually. And I think that it affects both the military and the private sector.
I gotta ask about CrowdStrike. So you have a company in Fortress there that really is intended to keep what happened from happening. First of all, can you describe exactly what happened, and should they have seen it coming, and was it a simple operator error, or was it just something that is a glimpse into our future that we may have to worry about going forward? Because this was an international issue.
So actually, CrowdStrike has an official statement today that anybody can go to their site. They're not keeping any secrets. It was, you can say a glitch, you can say a problem, you can say an issue. I think that it still needs to be investigated more, but they do try to do it as much public as they can. Usually those problems has like initial signs in form of information. So something happened along the way, but I'm guessing that this what caused the problem, that they didn't exactly heard the issue or got the alert at time. And those are one of the things that actually our platform at Fortress, we have developed a human-like analyst called Merlin AI, which is part of the platform. And Merlin combines an expert analyst intuition with consistency and speed and scale. We try to eliminate those kind of problems.
Well, let me interrupt for a second. Yeah. You do something that's called threat hunting. In other words, you actually identify threats like this before they happen, correct?
This is a more sophisticated threat, but yes, basically yes. And it can be like, sorry. So those are things that can be done by malicious actors and by negligence. So our platform tries to detect both of them and be able to alert them as soon as possible.
Are you more concerned about negligence, or are you more concerned about malicious actors?
So negligence can give malicious actor the capability to attack an organization. So both of them, it's the same stakes.
How did you? So let's talk about your clients. And if I'm not mistaken, you have 300 corporate clients. Your clients, were they affected by this CrowdStrike disaster? And if so, how quickly did you guys recognize what was going on?
So I cannot say that we weren't in the same boat as everybody. I can definitely say that we arrived at the safe shore quickly. So our customers was hit as well. Using the Fortress platform, we enabled us a quick recovery because we developed the capabilities those capabilities enable us a quick recovery. And once we understood the scope of and the gravity of the situation, we worked with our customers and CrowdStrike team, and we managed to deploy the workaround that we found together with the CrowdStrike using Fortress platform with remote management automation. In less than 4 hours, most of the customers were already up and running. So,
well, listen, Greg, I want to have you back. The bottom line is that this doesn't necessarily have to be a glimpse into our future, but if you can have a company like Fortress, and Fortress is not a paid advertiser. We just got Fortress from Jonathan Javid, but to able to threat hunt and to recognize it in advance and then resolve it within 4 hours is a big deal. Yep. Gregory, thanks so much. I appreciate it. Gregory Nazarovsky, Fortress. From Israel. Maybe we should just adopt everything. Send all our 18-year-olds to military.